Hi there, folks. I have another 7.62 by 39mm ammunition review for you today. And in this review, we're going to look at this Czechoslovakian M43 ball. Now, this ammo came packed in these blue boxes, kind of a light blue color box, with a cardboard spacer inside. And inside the box, there are two of these 10-round SKS style chargers or stripper clips. And as you can see, this is a steel case round. The rounds are kind of a parkerized or phosphate finished with a lacquer coating over the case to act as a kind of a rust proofer. Here's an individual round pulled out of the charger. Give you a look at the head stamp there, and it is BXN over 71, and BXN is the head stamp for the Sellier Bellot factory in Czechoslovakia. The Czechs sort of stuck with the German World War II practice of using a letter code on their head stamps. That's where the that sort of style originated from. So this ammunition is loaded with a standard M43 style of steel core bullet. Got a steel core. It's got a steel jacket. As you can see, a magnet sticks to this bullet in any place. And the steel jacket has been coated with basically a brass wash as a form of rust proofing. This is a boat tail style of bullet with a crimping cantilever. There's also a little bit of lead in these bullets. In between the steel jacket and the steel core, there's basically a sandwich of lead there, and that allows the bullet to deform somewhat when it impacts with the rifling. Otherwise, a completely steel bullet would develop extreme pressures. So there is a little bit of lead in this style of bullet. So I pulled apart a total of 7 of these rounds. They proved to be extremely difficult to pull apart with the impact bullet puller, and I have tried to pull them apart before with my RCBS press mounted tool. They're extremely difficult to pull apart in that tool as well. So I basically gave up at 7 rounds. I normally like to pull apart 10 to get a sample, but it was just getting to be an exercise in frustration getting these things pulled apart. The bullets themselves weighed an average of 122.6 grains. The heaviest bullet was 123.6 grains, and the lightest one was 121.9 grains. Got a standard deviation for the bullet weights of 0.7 of a grain, and an extreme spread between the heaviest and lightest bullets of 1.7 grains. So, kind of like I said, there's kind of an issue with this ammunition. There seems to be a kind of a bond between the bullet and the cartridge case, and it seems to hold the bullet in place extremely tightly, which makes these hard to pull apart. Anyway, just one of those things that you get when you're dealing with surplus ammunition of this vintage. So the bullets themselves, if you go to measure them, of course the important measurement is the diameter, and we're getting on these bullets somewhere between 310 and 311 depending upon the bullet and whereabouts you measure it. So I think an average would be about 310.5 for these bullets. Not the most consistent weight of bullet, but that's not really surprising because this was never meant to be a precision type round. It's more of an infantry spray and pray style of round, I guess you'd call it. And as far as the bullet length goes, this particular one comes out at 1.040 inches in length, so a fairly long bullet because of the boat tail and the relatively light steel core that it's got. So let's move on and we'll look at the powder charges that's in these rounds. Here's one that's been poured out into a scale pan, and this is a short grain a very small, short-grained IMR style extruded powder. And because of the difficulty in getting these rounds pulled apart, I think I lost a little bit of the powder when I was pulling these. Some of it tended to bounce out of the bullet puller. However, over the 7 that I did get apart, I got an average of 23.2 grains. That might be a little on the light side because, like I said, there was a little tiny bit of loss out of some of these. I'm not going to go into a standard deviation or anything of that nature. I'm just going to use the average, so it could be off by 0.1 or 0.2 of a grain over those rounds, but that'll give you an idea of what the powder charge range would be. And we'll move on from the powder charge. We'll have a look at the steel case itself. And as I mentioned, these are lacquer coated over a phosphated or parkerized base coat. There does not appear to be any sealant on the case mouth itself, at least none that I can detect. Like I said, some of these bullets were stuck in here quite firmly, so I think there was some sort of basically a bond occurring between the cartridge case and the bullet, which was holding them together. Let's see if we can get some light down inside the cartridge case there. Okay, with a little bit of light down inside of the cartridge case, you can see the 2 flash holes for the Berdan primer. I did attempt to hydraulically remove one of the primers from these rounds, but I was not successful. Unfortunately, these primers are stuck in there quite firmly, just the same way the bullets were stuck in the cases. So I was unable to pull a primer out to show it to you. But they are a standard style of Berdan primer, and I believe I measured one in the past, and it was 0.215 of an inch. So that's the cartridge case, that's the bullet, and that's the powder charge. So the next segment we're going to look at is going to be some range testing using a Russian SKS. And I did some velocity testing with that and some accuracy testing, and that'll conclude this ammo review. Other than the fact that I need to say that I have shot quite a lot of this ammo over the years, and it has proven to be quite reliable in my experience. Of course, one important thing I didn't mention about the priming, these are corrosive primed. These do use a chlorate style of primer. So if you shoot this ammunition, you have to be careful to clean it with a water-based product. Hot soap and water works quite well. If you're not willing to go that route, something like Windex works well as well. And follow up your cleaning with a good thorough oiling afterwards to prevent rust, because this is very corrosive ammunition. If you leave your gun even a day, you will probably have rust in the gas system. And if your bore is not chrome lined, you will definitely have rust in your bore as well. So very important to clean properly after shooting this stuff.